So, ayan na. Once again po, welcome back po sa YouTube channel, Timbangan ng Pilipinas. At ang topic po natin ngayon ay tungkol po sa Law 8 ng 48 Laws of Power. Ito po yung make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It is always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards. So, ayan guys. Ang sabi po dito sa Law 8, make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. So, when you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It's always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards. I'm going to begin Law 8 with a quote by Otto von Bismarck, one of the greatest leaders and politicians that ever existed. So, ang sabi po dito, when I have laid bait for deer, I don't shoot at the first dog that comes to sniff, but wait until the whole herd has gathered round. So, yan. Remembering that the idea of this law focuses on making others come to you. So, ito po yung keys to power. How many times has this scenario played itself out in history? An aggressive leader initiates a series of bold moves that begin bringing him power. Slowly, however, his power reaches a peak, and soon everything turns against him. His numerous enemies band together, trying to maintain his power. He exhausts himself going in this direction and that, and inevitably he collapses. The aggressive person is really in full control. He cannot see more than a couple of moves ahead. Cannot see the consequences of this bold move or that one, because he is constantly being forced to react to the moves of his ever-growing host of enemies and to the unforeseen consequences of his own rash action. His aggressive energy is turned against him. So, pag ang tao daw aggressive, kahit na halimbawa napakatapang niya. So, yung pagiging aggressive niya, yun yung nagkukos ng yung pagkatalo niya. Halimbawa sa labanan. So, kailangan talaga pinag-iisipan lahat muna ng gagawin. Iisipin mo ng buti, huwag kang padadala sa sa bugso ng iyong damdamin. So, in my experience and personal study, I have noticed that masculinity is often defined and classed with aggressiveness. So, yan. When you ask our culture to describe the characteristics of young men within our society, the word aggressive often appears with negative connotation. So, however, behind most stereotypes, some element of truth, though aggressiveness needed at times, and tactful methods of uncontrolled aggressiveness. So, yan yung uncontrolled, hindi mapigilang yung pagiging, halimbawa, galit na galit ka talaga, so hindi mo na mapigilan ang sarili mo, is often used in the pursuit of achievement. What Green is explaining in the above quote is how that aggressive energy can be turned against you if you're not careful. So, yun, yung okay lang naman din na, pero kalimitan kasi pag yung aggressiveness mo, yung parang, yung aggressive ka sa sarili mo, tapos magalit ka. Parang yun yung siya magiging dahilan na energy can be turned against you if you're not careful. Kasi hindi ka maingat, yun yung halimbawang magdadala sa'yo sa, for example, ganito, halimbawa, galit ka sa tao. So, sobrang galit mo, napatay mo siya. So, kumbaga, hindi ka na nakapag-isip na pwede mo naman siyang halimbawa, sa panahon natin ngayon, meron naman tayong batas. Pwede natin daanin siya sa mga legal process. So dahil sa napatay mo siya, sobrang galit mo, ayun, anong kinabagsakan mo, di ba? Kulungan. So, in the real power, you must, ask yourself, what is the point of chasing here and there? Trying to solve problems, yan, sinasabi ko. In the realm of power, you must ask yourself, what's the point of chasing here and there, trying to solve problems and defeat my enemies, if I never feel in control? Why am I always having to react to events instead of directing them? The answer is simple. Your idea of power is wrong. You have mistaken aggressive action for effective action, and most often the most effective action is to stay back. Keep calm and let others be frustrated by the traps you lay for them. So, yun yung sinasabi rito. You have mistaken aggressive action for effective action. And most often, ang pinaka-most effective action is to stay back, stay back ka lang, keep calm, kalmado ka lang, and let others be frustrated. Hayaan mo sila ang maging agresibo. Tapos, the traps you lay for them. The traps you laid for them. Kumbaga, nahuhulog na sila sa mga patibong mo. Playing for long-term power rather than quick victory. Kumbaga, hindi mo kagad, parang sa labanan. Kaya nga yung mga hari, kapag nakikipaglaban, hindi sila agresibo. Paplanuhin talaga nila yung mga strategy nila. Hindi yung basta atake ka, kahit napakarami mong tauhan. Siyempre, pag basta atake ka, galit ang pinairal mo o yung victory, wala, matatalo ka. Kasi pag nakatapat mo, matalinong hari at maganda yung strategy nila, hindi sila agresibo, yun, pinag-iisipan muna, mananalo ka talaga. So, let me repeat a portion of this quote for emphasis. You have mistaken aggressive action for effective action. So, yan ang sabi, you have mistaken aggressive action for effective action. Do not become misguided. They are not the same thing. Aggressive action does not mean it's effective. So, pag agresibo ka, hindi epektibo yung kilos mo. Kasi nga, agresibo ka, it does not mean it's efficient. It does not mean it will work. Hindi siya gagana. Just because your aggressive emotions and actions give you the feeling you're in control. Di ba? Does not make it true in reality. Usually, this is self-constructed illusion that gives us a false sense of control and security. And most often, the most effective action is to stay back, keep calm, and let others be frustrated by the traps you lay for them, playing for a long-term power rather than a quick victory. So, remember, the essence of power is the ability to keep the initiative, to get others to react to your moves, to keep your opponent and those around you on the defensive. When you make the other people come to you, you suddenly become the one controlling the situation, and the one who has control has power. So, kung sino yung mga kambawa, ito yung sinasabi niya, when you make other people come to you, mo silang lumapit sa iyo, you suddenly become the one. So, makokontrol mo lahat yung sitwasyon and the one who has control. At kung sino yung nakakapag-control ng sitwasyon, siya yung may kapangyarihan. Siya yung may power. Two things must happen to place you in this position. You yourself must learn to master your emotions. Mapag-aaralan mo kung paano makontrol yung emotion and never to be influenced by anger. Hindi yung lagi kang galit na galit. Meanwhile, however, you must play on people's natural tendency to act angry when pushed and baited. In the long run, the ability to make others come to you is a weapon far from more powerful than any tool of aggression. Mas kung nakakalma ka, mas nakakapag-isip ka ng tama. Mas malaki yung laban mo kaysa dun sa gagamitin mo yung galit kagad, yung galit na galit kagad, agresibo ka kagad. Gusto mo kagad makuha. The first thing that comes to mind as I read and write that is woman, the game of power is ever present in relationship, dating, and the male-female connection. In my observation and experiences, males in our society are expected by the majority to make the first move, whether that be to start a conversation as someone out on date or make the first sexual advancement. If you were born in the 1980s or earlier, you understand this better than most. Of course, this cultural expectation has shifted over the last decade through the 21st century as our society has matured, regardless more often than not, unless you're a guy who has something great valued that the majority of others do not have. You will most likely need to take the initiative and action. Therefore, you automatically lose a degree of control and power by being the one to make the first move. Although some may believe you also gain a degree of control by going on the offense, which I would also agree with, each scenario provides positive and negatives depending on your perspective. The main point here is to be aware of the power and control dynamics that you may lose or gain in the process of taking initiative, action, or not. I do not believe this an ignorance is bliss type scenario. The more you know about human behavior and the power dynamics of human relationship, the more effectively you can maneuver around the chaos and stay responsive instead of reactive. Remembering that this law is making other people come to you. Let's flip the scenario and imagine like you are trying to put yourself in the best possible position to get someone to approach you. Greenie, Greenie echoes a statement to this dilemma. Si Green. You yourself must learn to master your emotion, never to be influenced by anger. Meanwhile, however, you must play on people's natural tendency to react angrily when pushed and beaten. In the long run, the ability to make others come to you is a weapon far more powerful than any tool of aggression. So this code doesn't pertain exactly to potential romantic relationship because more often than not, getting a man or woman to react angrily in the attempt to court them is a method most don't understand how to finish. I see this idea applying more to the realm of entrepreneurship, business, and politics. I would even extend caught to never to be influenced by anger, to never be influenced by self-destructive emotions such as jealousy, resentment, and envy. Those emotions often drive many to reckless action and mistakes. I will be the first to admit those self-destructive emotions are something I have previously battled with quite often in the past. Additionally, Green says you must play on the people's natural tendency to react angrily when pushed and baited. I would tweak that. To be more specific, you must play on people's natural tendencies of superficiality, mystery, wonder, and curiosity. So what does it mean? Superficial Superficiality. I believe the majority of humans are wired to observe, analyze, subsequently judge of first appearances. I believe we go through subconscious questioning and answering such as, do I think this person is attractive? Do I like this person's demeanor and mannerisms? I think we're asking and answering questions like this to ourselves nearly every time to look and meet someone. If you understand uh, how you appear to others, then you can effectively change for the better to improve the likelihood. So if you understand how you appear to others, then you can effectively change for the better to improve the likelihood of positive encounters. So mystery, curiosity, and curiosity. So yeah, both these characteristics can pique anybody's interest no matter the gender. They are elusive qualities for us all. I believe you can use those to your advantage to implementing law 3 and 4, concealing your intention and always saying less than necessary. Executing those two laws may create a mysterious aura around your persona through the process of not revealing too much information about yourself. You create intrigue. O, diba? From a more tactical perspective, Green notes, all of us have only so much energy and there's a moment when our energies are at their peak. When you make the other person come to you, he wears himself out, wasting his energy on the trip. One added benefit of making the opponent come to you is that it forces him to operate in your territory. Being on a hostile ground will make him nervous and often he will rush his action and make mistakes. For negotiations or meetings, it's always wise to lure others into your territory or the territory of your choice. You have your bearings while they see nothing familiar and are subtly placed on the defensive. The key to picking a pocket is knowing which pocket contains the wallet. Experienced pickpockets often execute their trade in train stations and other places where there is a clearly marked sign reading beware of pickpockets. A passerby seeing the sign invariably feels for the wallet to make sure it's still there. For the watching pickpockets, this is like shooting fish in a bar. Pickpockets have been known to place their own beware of pickpocket signs to ensure their success. Pickpockets have used that people believe is a safety mechanism to their advantage by lulling people into a false sense of security. That is the illusion Green was talking about. The person who makes others come to him appears powerful and demands respect. Filippo Brunelleschi, the great Renaissance artist and architect, was a great practitioner of the art of making others come to him as a sign of his power. So, ayan po siya. Si Brunelleschi. Brunelleschi was repairing the dome of the Santa Maria del Fiore Cathedral in Florence. The city hired a second man, Lorenzo Ghiberti, to work with him. Brunelleschi was not happy with this. He knew Ghiberti would do none of the work but get half the credit. So at the critical moment of the construction, then Brunelleschi suddenly developed a mysterious illness, so he had to stop the work on the cathedral. Brunelleschi reassured the city of officials they'll do fine with Ghiberti finishing the job. It soon became clear that Ghiberti was useless, and the officials came begging to Brunelleschi. He ignored them, insisting that Ghiberti should finish the project, until finally they realized the problem. They fired Ghiberti, but by some miracle, Brunelleschi recovered in days. So he did not have to throw a tantrum or make a fool of himself. He simply practiced the art of making others come to you. If on one occasion you make it a point of dignity and that others must come to you and you succeed, they will continue to do so even after you stop trying. A perfect example of such intelligent, respectful, and dignified way to go about getting your way. All he had to do was truthfully show the truth that Ghiberti had no skill, and he did all without insulting a single person. So, kumbaga, walang narinig si Ghiberti sa kanya. Ang ginawa niya, ipinamahala niya lang kay Ghiberti yung pagpapatuloy dun sa pagkakonstruct ng yung pamamahala. So, ang nangyari dun nakita ng mga tao na talagang walang kakayahan si Ghiberti sa ganong posisyon. So, yun. Kaya, sa kanya walang narinig, mismo mga tao na lang yung nagsabi sa kanya hanggang sa naalis si Ghiberti sa posisyon na yun. So, ito yung reversal niya. Although it is generally the wiser policy to make others exhaust themselves chasing you, there are opposite cases where striking suddenly aggressively at the enemy so demoralizes him that his energy sink. Instead of making others come to you, you go to them, force the issue to take the lead. Fast attack can be an awesome weapon, for it forces the other person to act without the time to think or plan. With no time to think, people make errors of judgment. So kapag hindi ka talaga nag-iisip, marami ka nagagawang pagkakamali. And they are thrown on the defensive. This tactic is the observe of waiting and baiting. So parang pain lang yun, but it serves the same function. You make your enemy respond on your terms. So make like Cesar Borgia and Napoleon use the element of speed and intimidate and control. A rapid and unforeseen move is terrifying and demoralizing. You must choose your tactics depending on the situation. If you have time on your side and know that you and your enemies are at least at equal strength, that deplete their strength by making them come to you. If time is against you, your enemies are weaker, and waiting will only give them the chance to recover. Give them no such chance. Strike quickly and they have nowhere to go. As the boxer Joe Louis put, he can run but he can't hide. So hanggang dito lamang po guys, at hopefully po may natutunan po tayo sa aking vlog po ngayon. At sa mga hindi pa po nakasubscribe, just click my notification bell for more videos. Bye-bye!